Hi everyone, Keith Arkenberg Farms. And today we're going to be talking about the techniques for overwintering produce. It's not the most difficult thing to do if you know just a few very helpful hints along the way. So we'll keep cutting, I'll talk to you, and I'll show you how we do it here on our farm. Now the techniques for overwintering produce, it's actually fairly simple. You have to kind of think about it almost like you're making deposits into your overwinter crop production at the beginning of winter. Now, if you don't make enough deposits at the beginning, you're not going to have anything left come this time of year. Because basically, this time of year, everything pretty much just stops growing altogether. And that has to do with your Persephone date in your area. Now, the Persephone date is a day that your area receives less than 10 hours of sunlight. When that happens, pretty much everything just stops growing or just really screeches to a halt. So that's very important, very specific to your region. Here, our Persephone date is, nope, there's another bad one, is about mid-November. Our first frost date is mid-October. So those are the very important dates to actually know when you're trying to overwinter things. Because you have to have them in the ground and protected and grown by that November 15 date for us. Otherwise, it just won't get any bigger. So for us, that means our last transplant date is going to be mid-October. So that is about the time of our first frost. Now, that is why we're planting in the tunnels. This can be done outdoors too with appropriate covering. But I have to make sure to have transplants ready to go in the ground at that mid-October date. Mid-September is where we start our initial, not quite overwintering, but our winter harvest transplants. And those get harvested out during about December and January at that point. So you really have to be vigilant about what you're planting and when you're planting. There's all kinds of crops that do really good over winter and into the winter as well, just depending on how really cold you get in your region. This year we did have temperatures down to -10 for a couple days, and that really hurt some of the production over in the other tunnel, which I'll show you here in a second. But things like lettuce and spinach just do great this time of year when you're overwintering. Now, the second important part is actually coming out every single day when it's above freezing inside of your greenhouse and uncovering opening up the greenhouse. Then at the end of the day, you come back, you recover everything, and close up the greenhouse for the night. That is pretty much it when it comes to keeping things alive. The other important thing is you really want to try to mitigate disease, especially in lettuces, because they get bottom rot very easily this time of year from excess moisture being trapped in these greenhouses. So you can see with this bed next to me here, pretty much all of those have succumbed to this. I've been really working through the years of trying to expand out my planting further and further, so more and more spaced apart in the rows, like this area where they're not touching, to prevent that. Once one starts to drop, the leaves get infected with this little white mold, I believe it's called fusarium, and then that leaf will touch the leaf next to it, and then it will spread into the next plant. Now, if you have them isolated from each other like this one dropped, but it didn't touch this one, so it didn't spread it. This one dropped, but it didn't touch this one, so it didn't spread it. That's kind of where I've been working past couple years, and getting better and better at it. This year, we did have some increased growth due to the exceptionally warm fall we had. So things kind of got bigger than they should have. I should actually be harvesting on this row, and they should be about this big around right now. This row was my last plant row. This right now should be maybe baseball size, and I'd be harvesting this in April. I actually got lucky this year. Did a video a couple weeks back on it. I had this tray of Salanova knocking around the farm that whole entire time up until December. I'd wheel it in, wheel it out of the building, never watered it, left it outside multiple times and froze it, and it amazingly still alive. I planted that over there, and they are not quite as big as I'd like, but about perfect. Those should be hitting right about mid-April for the market itself. Take you around, show you some different pictures. I got the 4 pounds I need for harvest, and yeah, we'll go from there. And don't forget, head over to arkenbergfarms.com, scroll down near the bottom. We've got the Market Gardening Farm School and Digital Tools and Training. This is where you can join the Market Gardening Farm School, sign up for seed time for free, request consulting, and purchase a bunch of other spreadsheets and tools for your farm. Go check it out. And don't forget to head over to our Amazon influencer store, amazon.com/shop/farmerkeith, for all the products we use on our farm that are easily available on Amazon. We have them categorized into the different categories of supplies that you will need on your farm, and these are the ones that we use and order for our farm. By purchasing through here, it helps support the content we create. So here's a good idea of what this drop looks like. Single one drops, touches the one next to it, and does the same thing. You'll start to get it in your other beds. You see where that one's dropped, but it hasn't touched anything. This one is dropped, and it is, so I just simply grab it and remove it. Check underneath. See, we got a couple leaves starting to go. We'll get that pinched back to the base of the plant. This side's got a little bit going on right there as well. Again, we'll pinch that back to the base of the plant, trying not to leave any of that to prevent it from spreading to this one and this one over here. These ones, very simple. Grab them, pitch them off to the side. So you can see where these are a little bit more spaced out, and when there's stuff missing, it's actually where we've had disease come in and take them out. These are my later plantings down here. We might lose one, but we still have other ones ready to go. And that is where it's really important again to remember, this stuff is not growing right now. It is just sitting dormant. So you have to really scale out how much you're going to harvest and then plant that much plus another 20 or so % for drop. Occasionally you'll have areas like this where you lose a whole bed, but you got to watch for that as well. Another crop we do overwintering is our carrots. Same thing, mid-October, planted in here, got a beautiful stand. They'll just sit like this and wait. You do have to cultivate a little bit because you do start to build up your little winter weeds in here, like these little guys right here. And they can be extremely problematic in a bed when they really start taking over. But this will sit here until about mid-March-ish, so in about another month or so, they'll start to actually grow again and take off. Now here was the row I was talking about earlier with those ones that were knocking around forever. Got a nice little bit of growth right here in the center to where that is doing nicely. It's dropping the leaves on the outside, which is fine. Same thing right here. And then for our beets, which is another one of our overwintered ones we do, these have actually just started sizing up a little bit. Again, not watering any of this over the winter. Come mid-October, I stop watering at all. Now, I did have to water this simply because I was transplanting them and I needed them to take hold. And I have done one light watering here and the carrots and this bed again because this one was starting to get a little droopy. but it was plenty warm outside for those couple days. So I really didn't risk overwatering it. Everything's really spread out, but to water it easily, I had to use my overheads here. So they spray over an area, but did not water over there. Now we'll head over to the other greenhouse. So the next two types of overwinter produce that everybody's familiar with form onion sets. Only cover them when it's an average of 25 or below. So we're not covering over this side, and our garlic as well. So everybody's familiar with garlic. I know how to grow it, not the best in the world, and we just do a small bed every year anyways. Now, I was doing trials on our spinach this year. We actually have 3 different types of winter spinach here. It overwinters great as well. The biggest problem is if you're not in here getting it harvested quick enough, you start to get yellowing going on in the leaves, which makes it a little bit more difficult to actually harvest it. But again, I want to have enough in here ready to harvest at any point in time, and I only harvest what I need. See, there's some more yellowing going on, but the majority of this is really nice looking spinach in here. Now, the other great thing about overwintering is the fact that things just taste sweeter. They have more sugars built up, kind of like antifreeze in a car that keeps them from freezing completely solid, and they're able to bounce back. More sugars make sweeter, make better tasting vegetables. Now, the broccoli over there is all but done. Still got some side shoots that are kicking up. It likes to be cold, but not that cold. Same thing with the cauliflower here. I thought it was gonna make it, but then I looked inside because it's a real tight heading on it, and the heads are they're brown and gone. Next one would be a kale. So kale will overwinter very well, very good, but it stops growing. So you have to have this stuff ready and almost a mature leaf just sitting here and harvesting it as the season progresses. Got some Brussels sprouts in here. They went in a little late. Years past, I've got Brussels sprouts in January. I think I got those in just a little bit too late this year, so I really didn't get anything off of them. Next one is the cabbages. We've got the good old storage number 4s, some specialty Germans in here. They're starting to go, but they're also starting to look a little not good. They start getting this browning around the edges. Is some kind of fungus in here as well. And that's where you've got to be really vigilant about actually getting airflow in here. More airflow, less moisture, less humidity, the less chance you have of getting different fungal diseases in the produce out here in the fields. We do have a couple that have finally started to size up for us. There we are. And they are actually looking fairly good. And that's probably 1.5 to 2 pound cabbage here. Weren't able to harvest it out when we harvested the rest of them, but they are starting to actually start to size up again, which is great, which does happen as the light levels increase, temperatures increase, ground temperatures increase, things just naturally start growing again. So, like I said, it's not hard overwintering lettuce. Having a greenhouse or a high tunnel is very helpful, but you can do this in poly low tunnels. Plenty of people do it. It's just more work because you've got to use a ground cover inside of a tunnel to get the temperature stabilization you actually need to get the stuff through the colder times. Hardening it off is a very big trick of it. As temperatures fall, you really don't start covering until it starts freezing, keeping it cooler in here. Then no watering, none at all this time of year, because otherwise you start to get diseases. Now, if you're further down south, we're in a 6B here, you're gonna have a completely different technique because your Persephone period is gonna be a matter of a month or so, where we go into a good 4 months of no sunlight, basically. So everything pretty much shuts off during those time periods. So I hope you all like what you saw today. Thought it was useful. Got any questions or comments? Put them in the comment section. Tell us what you do further down south, further up north. You get too far north, you probably can't do this. We're in the center of the country, like I said. Further down south, I believe you all just grow straight through the winter and don't in the summer. So always very, very specific to your region and how things work out. And this has taken me years of trials to get these dates down, to get this stuff to actually push the time of the year that I need it. As always, hope y'all like what you saw today. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank y'all. Have a good day.